this video we take a detailed look at a 1930s Marryat lift. This lift still has its original logic. It is still on slates, and this lift is absolutely epic. And this lift is 90 years old and it's still running absolutely perfectly, and it's been in service all that time, and it's the only lift in the building. And all of the people in this building probably don't even realise a lift is 90 years old, because it's just the normal lift they use every day in the building. And just to think a lift could work for that long reliably is just so good. Now just compare that to the modern day and how crap the lift industry is in the modern day. Today, the design life of lifts being built is just 25 years, and a lot of lifts don't even last that long, especially generics. It is depressing, but what's even more depressing is the attitudes of lift engineers who think lasting 25 years is normal and the way lifts should be. And that infuriates me so much, because I don't accept it. Shouldn't be the case. Lifts could last 90 years in the past. Why can't they last 90 years today? Because let's say I was a building owner and I wanted a lift installed in my building. That'd last 90 years. What could I do? There's no lift companies out there that would supply a lift that lasts that long. What can I do? Phone up a generic lift company? Oh, hello generic lift company. Yeah, I'd like a lift installed in my building, but there's a requirement. I want it to last 90 years. And they would just laugh. They wouldn't even take that seriously. That is how bad things are today. It's not just generic lifts that don't last long. The lifts from the major lift companies don't even last much longer either. The only lifts out there that could last 50 years are maybe Mitsubishi, maybe the very heavy duty top of range models by Schindler and Kohn, but those sort of top of range lifts would only be installed in posh buildings. The sort of buildings have money to replace their lifts often, meaning there's no lifts out there in the modern day being installed that last 50 years, let alone 90 years, and that's just bad. Anyway, back to the 1930s Marryat Scott. Over the course of the years, this lift has had two modifications. Originally in the 1930s, the lift had passive lockings and a passive safety circuit. This is where the lift unlocks and locks each door as it passes it, as it moves up the shaft. There is no safety confirmation that the door is actually locked. So in 1950, the lift was upgraded to have modern day safety with an unlatching door cam. But the lift logic was not replaced. They added on the extra relay on its own slate board to the existing slate relay logic. They added it on, they didn't replace it, because back in those days they didn't do needless replacements. Then the lift ran untouched until 1997, where it had an inner door added. Now I think this lift might have had a gate door originally, so it's a shame that bit of the lift did get removed. But on this door add-on, they didn't replace the logic. Now just think, this is 1997, in that era, the lift engineers in that mindset often had that replace everything mentality, and lots of generic lift companies would lie to the building owner and say a lift needs unnecessary work, and that's how bad things are. But whatever lift company it was that added this inner door, they did something unusual. They actually wired the new door into the existing logic. They wired it into the unlatching door cam circuit, which is just awesome. They didn't needlessly replace the slate logic, because the slate logic is so reliable and heavy duty, and I'll come on to that later. And when I saw this lift and saw the inner door, I almost turned around and left the building. So I thought, oh, it's had a bad mod. But it hadn't. They still kept it original. So let's ride this lift. And now up into the motor room. Now, in the 1930s, when this lift was installed, Dewhurst and Marryat Scott were the same thing. It wasn't until Marryat Scott got taken over by Coke when Dewhurst was made separate. And it was in 1930 when the first generic lift company started, which was Pawn and Dun Woody. And Pawn and Dun Woody brought Dewhurst equipment from Marryat Scott / Dewhurst and installed their own lifts with it. And in the 1930s, a generic lift was pretty much as good as a Marryat Scott because it's the exact same parts. And just to think Dewhurst equipment could last over 90 years back then, to how Dewhurst is today and is completely crap and rubbish, how could a company change so much? So if we take a look at the parts of the lift buttons are Dewhurst. The lift logic is in a Marryat Scott fridge. Well, I call it a fridge because it looks like a fridge. Open it up and it has a Dewhurst slate relay board. And look how big and heavy duty these slate relays are. They're even more heavy duty than the typical 1960s relays that you had on lifts. They were so over-engineered and well built, and this lift still has its original relays from when it was installed in 1930. That is how reliable it is. Nothing could be altered to this relay logic to make it more reliable. Any replacements or changes to this logic would make it less reliable. This is the most reliable you can get. It's very simplistic, but just works. Something you could not say about a modern day lift. Then it is the add-on board for the unlatching door cam, also on a slate relay board in a little cabinet on top of the main one. Then there is the floor positioning system, also Dewhurst, and you often see this design of floor positioning on other brands of lifts. Some other lift companies at the time didn't actually make it own, they brought them in from Dewhurst, and it's got on it a little indicator to show what floor it's on. Then there is the lift motor, but there's one thing that I wasn't able to find, and that was the latching relays for floor buttons. Where are those? Maybe it's round the back of the slate board that I couldn't get to. So let's now make this lift move. The official lift key. That's the official lift key. And now let's surf this epic lift.
This is the add-on. There's actually unlatched. That's later. This originally had passive lockings. So that's a passive locking board. Then when the unlatch was installed, they put in this board, and then when they put in indoor, they installed it into the unlatch board.